Today, we're going to be talking about dropshipping. Now, we're going to be talking about how to dropship successfully because 99% of dropshippers will often fail. So, for those of you who don't know, first off, what is dropshipping? Basically, you become the middleman between a manufacturer and a customer. So you market and you sell other people's products, typically from China, and you try and get customers to sell them to. Now, the difference between how much it costs that manufacturer to package and ship that product to a customer and how much the customer pays to purchase your product and pay for shipping, the difference between those two is how much you actually make. So before we get into the specifics of things, let me give you a couple tips. First off, it's not as easy as it would look. It used to be that dropshipping was kind of this get rich quick scheme that was really easy to do and bing bang boom, you're a millionaire. It might have been like that at some point. It is not like that now. That doesn't mean you can't make a ton of money in a very short period of time, because you can. However, you need to know what you're doing, and I hope this video helps inform you so that you don't make the same mistakes that a lot of other dropshippers do. The next point I'd like to make is that it's very competitive. For these different niche products, there are going to be a lot of other people that are going to try to jump on this trend and try to grab potential consumers away from you. So you have to be open to changing your strategy in order to deal with that and help make sure that you are the number one when it comes to whatever trend you're going for. The last piece of advice that I have is that it's actually a lot of effort. A lot of people think that, oh, it's super easy, you set it up and then you just fill your orders as they come in. No, this is a full-time job. You can make a lot of money, but it's going to require the hours. So we're going to break up the full life cycle of a dropshipping store down to 6 sections: choice of product, finding supplier, store design, ads, fulfillment centers, and selling your store. So first things first, choice of product. Let me tell you what not to do. Don't go for a saturated market. This includes things like clothing and hats. They've already been done. There's a million stores out there like it. Next, don't go overboard with your products, especially people who use Oberlo. It's so easy to go, click, 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 click. Okay, I've added, I don't know, 1,000 products to my store. People will typically just leave the titles as they are, and they'll probably go in and leave their SEO descriptions just the same. People are just overwhelmed. Your SEO is terrible. You're gonna fail. So you don't necessarily need to add, 200 products to your store in order to be successful. You can have one product stores or one type of product stores that are highly successful, make a ton of money, and it's just the one thing. The real thing that you're trying to look for in a choice of product is a trending product in a niche market. A good example of this would have been fidget spinners. A couple years ago, fidget spinners came along, they blew up, everybody and their dog was buying one, and there was a ton of people that made lots of money off of this trend. Set up a drop shipping store, make it purely about fidget spinners, maybe different colors, maybe different styles, shapes, whatever, and making a ton of money and then selling your store off to make money before that niche ends. That would have been the perfect way to go. So you might ask yourself, well, how do you actually find these trending products? We actually have a full video that gives you guidance on how to find trending products. So feel free to check that out here. So next, we're going to look on how to find a supplier. So before we get into this, there are 3 main things that you want to be paying attention to when you're looking for a supplier: cost, shipping time, and branding. Cost is relatively straightforward. You want to make sure that you can upsell your product so that you're actually making a profit margin on it. Typically, you want the 3 times rule, so you want to multiply the cost of the base product times 3 so you can actually make a profit. It really depends on the cost of the product and how much people are willing to pay for it. Next is shipping time, and this can be one of the biggest things that can help improve or absolutely cripple your dropshipping business. The last thing is branding. It's very ideal and very beneficial to your business if you're able to add your own branding to your own products. And this can be done actually through your supplier itself, as long as you can get a supplier who's actually interested and willing. And the other thing about your branding is you want to ensure the supplier is not including any of their own documentation, because you really want to make sure that when the customer receives it, they feel like it's coming from you, it is your product, and they'll start putting trust in your brand that way. So let's get into platforms. Now, the most common and the easiest way to do things is using AliExpress, specifically with the Oberlo plugin into Shopify. What I'm going to tell you is don't do this. It used to work, it's not working anymore. So let's go through an example here. So one thing that's trending right now are these pet gloves that people use in order to be able to remove the fur from their different pets. And yeah, it's something that's trending right now. So let's take a look at a couple different options here. So our first store here in AliExpress is selling these lovely gloves for between 161 to 219, and they come in multiple colors, which seems all nice and whatnot, and we get the lovely delivery date of between 30 to 50 days. If you have that kind of turnaround, people are not going to buy from your store, they're not going to recommend your store. It's going to take them 2 to 3 months to actually receive their product. This is not a good deal at all. Here's another version from AliExpress, similar idea, similar concept. This one, it's only a cent, which is great, but it's 30 to 50 days. And given that it's only a penny, I'm going to guess that their shipping cost is going to be fairly phenomenal. Typically, what you find on AliExpress is already second or third hand drop shipped within China itself, which means that you're going to have a lower turnover rate from their side of things because they have to order it through, companies A, B, and C until they actually get it. And then it's going to take them time to ship that. And you're not going to get a good price for it because you're not actually paying the base manufacturing cost. All you're doing is paying a third, fourth, or fifth person to sell you a product that is already upsold and will take you forever to actually receive it. So if AliExpress isn't good, what do you have to turn to? Well, there's actually three main options. There's Alibaba, so not AliExpress, Alibaba itself, Light in the Box, as well as Mini in the Box. They're all fairly similar ideas, except that typically Light in the Box and Mini in the Box are typically located in North America, have better shipping times, however, they often cost a lot more per item, which will hinder your profit margins. So you do have to be a little bit careful, and you should be exploring all three of these different options in order to try and find the best deal. So Alibaba, why Alibaba? Well, Alibaba is more of a manufacturer's website between manufacturers and actual companies. And you will actually find more of the source products that you're looking for a cheaper price and typically shipped faster, or at least shipped in bulk or potentially directly from their warehouse, which is the best case scenario. So let's continue on in our example here. On Alibaba, I've searched pet gloves and I've actually found a number of them here. You can see that there are different options and different suppliers. Now, what do you do in terms of making sure that you're getting the best match? Well, first of all, you typically do want to do verified supplier. You can do trade assurance as well, but you do typically want to make sure that the supplier is actually verified, which means that they've actually received orders and Alibaba says that they're actually good. So let's take a look at two of these stores. So this one here isn't bad. We have varying prices between $1.50 to $1 depending on the number of products that you purchase from them. They have a number of different colors. It seems like they have different product images here, which actually show that it looks like it's fairly decent quality. It kind of has this mesh foam up here on the back side. Looks like it can do the job. Now let's take a look at another supplier. Now you can tell that this is a very large supplier because you actually have orders between 500 to greater than 3,000 pieces, and you have a very low per product cost, which is great. They also have the option in order to purchase samples, and they also allow for customized packaging as well as graphic customization. And this is huge because this is about your branding. And you actually get to control this, unlike AliExpress. So this company is professional, they know what they're doing, they know how to deal with other companies. This is probably the actual manufacturer, and this would be a great supplier to work with. So let's take a look at our other two sources. With Light in the Box, I was able to find this product here, which is very similar. You'll notice that the shipping time is much, much better. However, the cost per unit is much higher. So in order to make actual profits of this, you're going to have to inflate this a lot. And that price there does not include the shipping costs as well as it'll take to order those products. Similarly, on Mini in the Box, it looks like we have the exact same product, except here it's actually cheaper. It's actually $6.06 as opposed to $9.92, like we had in our last example. Seems to be the exact same product completely. 2 to 5 business days for processing and 2 to 5 business days for shipping. Not bad, but like I said, much more expensive than if you were to just ship it in from China. So now that we have a reasonable supplier for the product that we're trying to sell, what next? Well, you need to reach out to the supplier And typically you want to ask them a couple questions. Now, here are a list of six. I mean, it really depends on the product, how much information the supplier provides you on whatever platform you're using to find them, things like that. But generally, here's kind of a general outline. So you want to ask the supplier if they're open to blind drop shipping, bulk drop shipping, what their minimum order requirements are, how their shipping time typically works, shipping options in terms of different companies to actually ship their products, as well as your ability to apply your logo, branding, packaging to their product and for them to be able to send it out directly from their own warehouse. Another tip in terms of being able to get the best possible supplier and the best possible deal from a supplier, you might want to consider investing in a drop shipping agent. So a drop shipping agent is somebody who's actually on the ground. So typically you're going to be drop shipping from China. So usually you can find a drop shipping agent in China who speaks the language, knows the business. They can actually make sure that you're getting your product from the supplier, not a second or third hand supplier. Just make sure that you're actually getting the best possible deal in terms of quality as well, and as well as shipping. They can help a lot in being an intermediary. It's kind of a 50-50. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't, but just to let you know that those options are available. So now that we've actually found our product, reached out to our supplier, we're actually ready to set up our store. Now, one thing you have to be cautious of when you're designing your store, that your store is oriented around your intended audience and not yourself. Oftentimes you can get very tunnel vision on what you find appealing in terms of what your product is, and it's not necessarily going to pull in your intended audience. To help overcome this, try taking inspiration from at least 2 to 3 other stores that are also in that niche. For our example here, I was able to find a couple stores. This first store here is a one product store. It's actually a Shopify one. I investigated that. It looks like it's Shopify. And yeah, let's just take a look. It seems like there's a lot of focus around, blue and, light colors, very pet friendly. You got all the animals all over the place. So there's one. We got the next one. So this one seems more oriented towards using the gloves for horses, but at least it gives us a picture of what they're doing. Lastly, I found this third store. It also seems to have some of the similar trends as the first store that we looked at. Seems to be a lot of focus on blue. It seems like a lot of the fonts that they use are very curvy as opposed to having sharp edges. If we go back to our other one, this one has sharp edges, but it's also blue. Just little tidbits like that can help you set up your store to make sure that you're really resonating with your intended audience so you can actually make those sales and make sure that you're having a successful store. So now that we've looked at a couple different stores, what you want to focus on now is ensuring that you have branding for your product. So whatever that is, in this example, True Touch, it's got the little dog paw there. You want to make sure that you really start to develop a brand. Now, you can get people from, Fiverr to, design different graphic logos from you. That's an easy way to do it. The last piece of advice I have is when you've created your store, make sure that you update the SEO for all of your products. If you don't know what SEO is, we have a full video on it that you can find in the link here. Just make sure that you do update that. That is exceptionally important, especially for natural search traffic. So next up we have ads. Now, biggest thing right now, do not go directly to Facebook ads. That's what so many people do. They jump directly to Facebook ads. They spend, $1,000,001 paying for Facebook ads that aren't successful. You want to go for Instagram influencers first. So what do I mean by an Instagram influencer? It's an Instagram user that caters to your specific niche market. In this case, we have a pet grooming glove which works for dogs, cats, and horses. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you find an influencer that has a noticeable amount of followers, usually between like 50 to 200K followers. You want to make sure that it's not too high. Like, for example, this person here has 1.8 million followers. They've probably done ads already with other stores, and so you want to make sure that you get a Instagram influencer that is fitting the niche, filling the market, but is relatively new. So for example, this one here is pretty decent. This one here is too small, and this one here, yeah, it's about right. So this one's pretty good as well as this one. So now that we have a couple Instagram users that are in our niche market and have active followers, now we're going to actually reach out to a couple of these people, see if they're interested in posting our ad for a certain amount of money, and yeah, see if that ad actually makes a splash. See if people actually use it to make conversions, and then you can tell because you know 100% the people that are viewing this are interested in cats that would definitely be interested in a grooming glove for their cat. You can see if that ad is actually successful or not. And let's take a look at an example of an ad. So in this case, I just typed in hashtag pet glove, and here we go. We already have an ad here advertising this product. And this is pretty typical of what a Instagram ad would look like. It's got a couple points about why it's awesome, as well as the link to the actual store. And usually you have just something up here that's either like tag someone or I need this now, or I can't believe I lived my life without it, that sort of thing. In terms of an ad to send to your influencer, typically the manufacturer will already have their own ad, not all the time, but oftentimes, so you can typically grab one from them. Alternatively, you might want to make your own, in which case it might be easiest either to get a sample and do it yourself, with your family and friends, or it might actually be easier to use something like Fiverr where you can contract somebody to create your ad for you. So just get a sample, send it off to them, pay them whatever they're looking for in terms of their contract fee, and there you go. You have a much more professional ad. You can send that to your Instagram influencer, they can run it, you can see if you get conversions, and then you get confirmation as to whether or not that ad itself is successful. Once you have a successful ad with an Instagram influencer, you can then move to Facebook. You have confirmation that that ad is successful, so when you go and try and start using that on Facebook, you know that the ad's successful. What you then need to focus on is more about the target audience. Although that's the general overview, there are a lot more details involved with ads. We actually have a full video describing how to create ads and run ad campaigns successfully. So if you'd like more information, click here or check out the description below. When you start to become successful at your business, you might want to start investing in fulfillment centers. So first off, what is a fulfillment center? A fulfillment center is basically a business that has warehouse space, will be able to store a lot of your product and be able to drop ship from them. So you might ask yourself, well, I'm already drop shipping from the supplier's warehouse. Why would I want to get a fulfillment center? Well, it allows you to stock product within your native country, which can greatly reduce shipping costs. On top of that, purchasing your product in bulk is going to give you a discount, which will be great in terms of increasing your profit margins. And like I just said, it reduces that shipping time. If there is a trend going on that is just going like crazy, if you are the store that's able to ship to people the next day or within 2 business days, you are going to be the one that's going to be making profits. And the only way you can get that sort of shipping time is if you have a fulfillment center or a warehouse within your own country. So there's actually a couple options available to you when it comes to fulfillment centers. First off, Shopify has actually come up with its own version, which is called Shopify Fulfillment. It's very cool. You have to have a certain number of requirements in terms of you're actually making sales and number of orders per day, that sort of thing before you'll actually qualify for it. But then you can apply for it and it's automatically built into your Shopify website, which is amazing because then you can just drop ship through Shopify directly, basically. Just make sure that you're managing your stock from your supplier, but it's great. There's also other alternatives. For example, ShipBob and ShipFusion. Both of them are the same exact sort of thing. They are warehouse fulfillment centers. They will carry your stock and they will ship it directly out to your customers using your own branding, making a very quick turnover from order to shipping to fulfilled. My last piece of advice is that don't be afraid to sell your store. So you're doing well, you've made money, you're doing great turnover, you decide, okay, I'm going to trademark my store, then I'm going to sell it. So you can actually make a lot of profit off of this and make sure that you exit the niche before that niche actually ends. This allows you to make money off of your business before that trending product stops trending. So Shopify actually has this place called Exchange Marketplace, and you can actually put your entire business, your store, up for sale. And allows people in order to be able to actually see the legitimate numbers from your company in terms of how much profit you're making, your orders per month, that sort of dealio. You put it up for sale, You sell your store, you make profit, and then you go and try and find that next product that's going to be trending and going to give you even more profit. And you can rinse and repeat. So there you go. There are our top tips on how to get successful drop shipping. I hope that helps a lot, and I hope that people really make sales out there. Catch you next time. Looking to improve your store? Hire a geek. We offer individual store optimizations, one-on-one training, as well as workshops. Check out the description below for more information.